Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Saints Jags on a short week. Derek Carr met with reporters on Monday and apologized to Pete Carmichael for their outburst on the sideline Sunday in Houston. It was late in the game if you missed it, and Carr admitted afterwards to being, quote, livid with the way things transpired. Here was Derek Carr talking about his outburst with Pete Carmichael.
I apologized to Pete actually on the airplane because I was talking to Pete, but I wasn't talking about Pete. Pete and I know exactly what I was talking about and why. And when the game's on the line, that's when you have to be on every detail of your assignment. And I was a little upset at some of those things, and so it had nothing to do with Pete. He just happened to be the one that walked up when I was a little angry.
I can certainly understand that. I can appreciate the explanation there. The struggles have a lot to do with Pete Carmichael. They also have a lot to do with Derek Carr, who in his career has not been a great red zone quarterback, and we're seeing a lot of those issues continue to manifest. But Carr took the culpability for what's been going on with this offense.
I never have blamed a coach. I never will blame a coach because they're not the ones standing on the field. Whether it's right, whether it's wrong, I've always been like, I don't care what play you call. We should be able to execute something, And obviously we know things happen, right? But, they have a good call or whatever. But I've always felt like, man, I don't like that mentality of pointing a finger. I don't like that mentality at all. I always felt like, if you call something, I'm going to do my best to make that happen, no matter the situation, no matter what, whether I agree or disagree. I am human. I do have those feelings. I'm just going to do my best to execute.
So I can certainly respect you got a veteran quarterback here who is taking culpability for what's going on with the offense, but there's a lot they have to get fixed in a very, very short amount of time. Again, of course, the Saints lost on Sunday. They traveled home Sunday, but it's an easy flight from Houston. I mean, it's probably about 45 minutes. I mean, as soon as you reach your cruising altitude, you begin your descent. So easy trip home for the Saints, and then they turn around very quickly. You get your treatment on Monday, you're practicing on Tuesday, you're walking through on Wednesday, and then you're playing on Thursday. I think of greater consequence on a short week always is the injury report. Literally minutes ago, the injury report was published, so the Saints had a walkthrough today, Tuesday. Let's run through it real quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The same 6 players that were listed as the injury report on Monday. That was a theoretical injury report, an expected injury report had they practiced, although they didn't. It's the same people. So here's the ones that did not practice: Juwan Johnson, J.T. Gray, Landon Young, James Hurst, Ryan Ramczyk, and Demario Davis. Of note there, obviously, Demario Davis, you hope to get him back sincerely. But you've got 3 offensive linemen, including 2 starters there. So James Hurst and Ryan Ramczyk not practicing is a big deal. And Ramczyk, with the concussion, I think it's highly unlikely that you'd see Ryan Ramczyk play on Thursday being in the concussion protocol. You suffer that concussion on Sunday, it's nearly impossible to imagine that quick of a turnaround. Landon Young is one of your backup tackles. He's been out with the hip injury, didn't practice, so the in-game option that you had on Sunday was you kicked Cesar Ruiz out to right tackle. So you had Trevor Penning at left tackle, Cesar Ruiz at right tackle. We saw rookie Nick Saldiveri at guard along with Max Garcia because Andrus Peat was out with the groin injury. So you're a mess. I mean, you're a mess on the offensive line, and it doesn't look great in short order. The hope, sincere hope, would be you get Andrus Peat back. And just saying those words out loud, it's kind of a problem, right? When your big hope is that you get Andrus Peat back. But I'd look at it from a standpoint of he's a veteran guy that's played a lot. At least he's a really good run blocker, which is something you've lacked. And if you could put Andrus Peat there at left guard and Trevor Penning at left tackle, at least your left side of the line is respectable. Is that a good way to put it? You could always put Max Garcia at right guard. If Cesar Ruiz has to play right tackle, save a better option, which I don't know what you have. But again, I watched Sunday Night Football where the Giants pulled Justin Pugh off the couch. Literally on the Sunday Night Football intro, Justin Pugh of the Giants, when everyone says their school, he says Justin Pugh straight off the couch. That's literally what he said because he was out of the league on his couch when the Giants called him. He started at left guard. They immediately had an injury at left tackle, so Justin Pugh kicked out and played left tackle. From the couch to blocking your other team's best edge rusher. So, look, it's the NFL. I mean, we all say next man up, but to some degree it's true. You don't have an option of pausing and stopping and waiting. You got to go. So who's available? The rest of the everyone else listed on the injury report was limited. Lonnie Johnson, Cam Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, Chris Olave. We mentioned Andrus Peat with the groin. Jamal Williams. Then I should mention Derek Carr, but Derek Carr was a full participant. As for the Jacksonville Jaguars, the injury report is not nearly as lengthy as the New Orleans Saints injury report, but the gigantic name on the list, of course, is Trevor Lawrence, who had the knee injury on Sunday. Here was so he is officially listed as limited on the injury report for Tuesday. Officially listed as limited on the injury report for Tuesday. But here was Adam Schefter with an update on Trevor Lawrence from NFL Live.
Described to me as not so significant, which is the good news. The bad news is they play Thursday night on a short week at New Orleans against the Saints. It's going to be more difficult than ever for Trevor Lawrence to get ready for that game. If he can't play, C.J. Beathard would be the Jaguar starters. They'll monitor Lawrence this week.
So there's a lot of video from the media viewing, pictures and video from the media viewing portion of practice in Jacksonville on Tuesday, where Trevor Lawrence is out there, a heavy brace on his left knee, the type of brace that metal brace you would see a lineman wear on his left knee, and he was out there just a walkthrough, just jerseys and shorts, and helmets and shorts, and just lightly throwing passes. So Lawrence was out there. We'll see if he's able to go for Jacksonville on Thursday in New Orleans. But as for the Saints, the opening line for this game, it's right now the Saints a 1-point favorite. Told you my feelings on it. I think the Saints win the game. I think you have a bounce back when you're embarrassed. Generally, at this level, when you're embarrassed the way the Saints were, you respond. I think there is good player leadership on this team, veteran leadership with guys like Cam Jordan and with Tyrann Mathieu and Derek Carr, Demario Davis. I think the Saints have a nice bounce back at home on a short week catching Jacksonville. I mean, I thought this even before we knew about the injury to Trevor Lawrence, but it's a nice bounce back spot for New Orleans. I think the real big issue with New Orleans, though, is the long-term issue. In a vacuum, in a one-game sample, can the Saints go play well at home on Thursday night against a team with an injured quarterback on a short week? Yes. Is it something that the Saints can replicate week in and week out? I don't know so much that I believe that. Dennis Allen did meet with reporters on Monday, and, they were asked about a lot. I mean, the red zone issues or something. I think everyone's asking the right questions. How are communication issues still a thing in week 6? Why do you have red zone issues? Your Cesar Ruiz going to right tackle, is that always the issue if there was an issue with Ryan Ramczyk? But, mostly I think, for this team this week, the biggest question is going to be these injuries on the offensive line. And this is number 9, Muse. Dennis Allen was asked, how do you handle, for a group that's been bad this year, objectively bad, how do you handle all these injuries on a short week?
We'll see exactly where we're at. I mean, obviously, Ryan had the concussion in the game and Hurst had a foot, so kind of see how that plays out throughout the week. And if they're unable to go, then, obviously some other guys are going to have to step up.
Who those other guys are that'll step up, if you had them, you'd be playing them already. So I don't know that Thursday Night Football is going to be a thing of beauty. It's hardly going to be a Van Gogh or a Picasso, but the Saints need to scratch out a win, and they got a good opportunity to do it on Thursday Night Football in the Dome. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.